What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday. But we got a good show lined up for y'all. Y'all see it on your screen. Episode 10, Black Lives Matter Win, Part 2. So my good friend Sharon actually is the reason why we are doing this episode. She posed a question on her Facebook post, and I jumped up in that post and was like, I talked about this, and I think we got to work like hell in order for us to fix this and talk about this and bring resolve to it. So that is how this episode was conceptualized, and I hope that it's a good episode for all of you guys that are going to be joining with us. So my first guest, well, I have two guests today, Sharon and Rodney. They're both going to be on screen with me here in a minute. So let's go ahead and jump in the show. You're listening to the New Wave Real Talk podcast, and I'm your host, Raymond Riley. This podcast is everything Black culture, covering the latest topics in politics and entertainment. Thank you for listening. Office and haven't done a thing to further the cause of African American people in your community, then you do not deserve to hold that office. Period. A referendum on the status quo. All right, y'all heard it. A referendum on the status quo. Let's go ahead and jump into the show. I got a whole lot going on right in front of me, guys. So just bear with me here. So my first guest is gonna go ahead and jump on here in a second. Let me cue my music. I like to get folks started with get people started on a bang here. So let's go ahead and cue some music, and then we'll get Rodney on. All right, let's see if I can bring Sharon in. Hey, Miss Sharon, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for hanging out with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let you introduce yourself for the people. Tell the people who you are as much as you want them to know. Just introduce yourself real quick so they can kind of have an idea of who you are.
Well, my name is Sharon Smith. Currently, I am a case manager for a local housing agency, as well as a life coach and a mediator. But most importantly, I am the mother of a young Black man.
Absolutely.
So I
Absolutely,
think,
100%.
yeah.
Awesome. And I think that is the reason why you wanted to have this episode, because you know what we're up against, right? You get it from not only just being a Black woman in America, but you are a mother of a Black man in America. So all of these feelings and emotions and all of these things that we are going through as a people, if anybody get it, is you know.
Right. And the crazy thing, to just slide it in, I worked 2.5 years as a detention officer with one of the local jails. So
Wow, I
I've
never knew
seen
that.
it. I've seen it on both ends. And
Right.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Right. Absolutely. So let me let me do this. I'm gonna roll us out for a second. Y'all stay by. We're gonna go ahead and get Rodney on the phone, which I should have got him on the phone already, but that's my bad. So y'all don't go anywhere. Sharon just made her introduction. When we come right back, we're gonna get into the show, and we're gonna talk about what we can do as Black people to maybe change what happens, but we're not trying. Here, let me preference this real quick. For me, at least my intention, and Miss Sharon can jump in here and say what her intention is. My intention for this show today is to just get people to understand that Black Lives Matter in all situations, whether or not it is the white officer that killed a Black person, or John and Raymond get into it and one kill the other, and they're both Black. We should be as equally outraged on both sides. So that is what I want to share with y'all, my perspective. Sharon, what do you want people to take away from in your conversation that you're going to share today on the podcast?
In my conversation, I want the takeaway to be one of options. And what I mean by that is, I want to ensure that we are not putting ourselves in a position that we can't take ownership for.
Right, right. Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and get Rodney on the phone. Y'all stand by. It's going to be a good conversation. Y'all don't go anywhere.
Hey, you're watching New Wave Real Talk. We'll be back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're back. That was quick. I told y'all not to go anywhere. So we do have Rodney on the call. I'm gonna let him introduce himself to you guys, and then we're gonna get into the podcast. Rodney, tell the people who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Rodney. Born and raised in Georgia, and I am a black man.
All right. That's it. You said that kind of way, and I am a black man. let the people know.
I felt that. I felt that.
All right, so I want to pose the first question. I'll pose it to Sharon first. What do you think is the reason behind the lack of responsibility that some people, and I want to make sure our preference is everybody that's black. We're not talking about every single body. We're talking the questions that I pose are geared towards people that the question match for. So why do you think, Ms. Sharon, some people that are black overlook what other black individuals in their community do without holding that black person truly accountable in the same way that they will hold the white person accountable? Where do you think that stemmed from?
Well, I think you just said the key word: accountability, ownership. And I keep a phrase in mind, that I think it was Iyanla Vanzant said, you can't change what you don't own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's a very powerful statement, because we got to do our part in not continuing the cycle and not using it as an excuse or get out of jail free card. And what I mean by that is that I had a debate yesterday with a young lady. There's a video where a young man is resisting arrest. And there are some gentlemen trying to help him and say, just stop resisting. Stop resisting. The white officer attempted to put the knee on the neck. And, the black guys was like, watch your knee, watch your knee, watch your knee. But the young man kept resisting. And it took the black guys around to say, give me your arm. Where are the handcuffs? I'll hold this arm and you put the handcuffs on. So as I watched that video, I kept asking myself, why are you resisting? Why are you resisting? Just be still. Just be still.
Right.
And that's the part I want: accountability. I wasn't saying that the officer was wrong or right, but let's just be clear. Was he wrong or right?
Right. Right. Yep. Same question to you, Rodney. Same question to you.
Well, I agree with Ms. Sharon. I mean, the resistance is the problem. That's just like with the situation with the guy at the Wendy's. I'm driving, so I can't really think of his name right now. Rashad.
Yep.
And people was saying, "Oh, the police are wrong for shooting." Yes, but if you actually look at the video, the resisting is what the reaction causes for sometimes death.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You're drunk, you're high, or whatever the case may be. You know you messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to understand where you at right now. You got to take that loss sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I have 5 children, and I have a little black son as well.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole thing is to teach him the right way. If you're in the wrong, you got to own up to your wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not saying every cop is bad. I'm not saying every cop is good.
Right.
But they still have a duty that they must do to justify whatever the situation is.
Right.
Absolutely. I agree with Ms. Sharon. I mean, she really put it all in one sentence to me. You know what I'm
the
saying?
Accountability. Yeah.
Accountability.
That is important. I think we all have to take self-inventory. And we tend to my thing is, I think that a lot of people tend to bandwagon, right? If you will, like if one person says something about the video, that kind of becomes the narrative of the video, right? Because everybody wants to be on the same page. In most cases, when you're looking at these videos, and that's how like the idea, like the main idea gets formed by one person's opinion, and then everybody else just jumps on board, and nobody questions, well, hey, I see a guy and it's a cop and the guy is like squirming, fighting, and doing everything. Just because the guy's black does not make that resistance acceptable. And so that is true.
Right.
That is
Right.
100%.
Well, Raymond, one thing I want
I
to
do
share
got.
with you, my son is 29,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a time when he had a particular car. He had a Dodge car,
Mm-hmm.
and he bought the car one color, but he painted it black. He tinted the windows black, and they were a little bit over the illegal mark. Well, he began to get stereotyped, and as a mother, I had to look at that both ways. I said, well, the car black, the windows black, and you black. What
Mm-hmm.
do you expect?
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
what do you expect?
Right.
Right. Right.
Let's
Right.
just be realistic. As your mom, I got you. I got you 100%. But you got
Mm-hmm.
to take ownership. Your tent is illegal. And did you
Mm-hmm.
run the stop sign? Because I know how you drive.
Right. Right.
I've been in the car with you. Did you run the
Right.
stop sign? Let's just be realistic.
Right.
Well, they just pulled me over
Mm-hmm.
because I'm black. They can't even see you black because the window's black. So let's just be real.
Let's call a thing a
Yep.
thing, right? Yeah.
Right.
Because my
So
car is black and my windows is black.
right. Right. So my thing is you put yourself in that position, and then when I worked at the jail, Raymond, I got it both sides. I get the black officer bringing in the black guy.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you're a brother. Why you locked me up? Like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, you stole a candy bar. Like
You
you
broke
stole
the
the
law.
candy bar. Right. Let's just
Right.
call it a spade a spade. And then when the white officer bring you in, he's racist. You
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
So you want an Asian officer, you want a lieutenant, because I mean, like, what excuse you gonna use with the Asian officer?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
you stole the candy bar.
Yep.
Let's start there. Let's
Right.
start there.
Right. So let me ask both of you guys this, and I'll start this question to Rodney. Where do you think we as the black community went? Well, how do you think we've gotten to this point to where we think that because we're black, any interactions with a white person is going to be any interactions that we don't like, right? That we either didn't get our way, or somebody talked very sharply or very blunt to us. How does that automatically go to racism? How do you think we as black people have automatically made everything that exists with another race automatic racism?
Well, you got one problem: social media.
Mm.
People look at social media and the information that's put out there can create hatred because of how it's put to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And if you are not educated enough, no disrespect to whoever's listening to this, but if you're not educated enough to know that as a human being, you have your own right to believe and see what you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know what I'm saying, your mind has to be strong enough to be able to determine between the two.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So just like how Miss Sharon was saying about the video of the black guys trying to help the officers, detain the guy that they was trying to arrest, I thought that all that was a good way of the community working together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I just feel like that's where we losing the focus at, is in the community as us alone, not because of the police.
Mm-hmm.
Our own.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our own need to be accountable for, hey, brother, don't do that.
Right.
Hey, brother, you know that's wrong. So why would you do that? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when they was helping the officer arrest him, I honestly didn't see anything wrong with that. They trying to make sure that you don't go off the deep end and get yourself killed.
So let's talk about one of the things you said. Well, let me pose that same question to you, Ms. Sharon. Do you remember what the question was?
I'm probably going to get pushed back, but I think because of my experience, what I've seen, is kind of used as a get out of jail free card. Everybody picking on you because you black. You haven't done anything wrong just because you woke up and you black. Yes, there is a racism issue. I don't deny that. I think it has not necessarily gotten worse. I just think, like Will Smith said, we're able to now just get it filmed. We're able to see it a little bit better. But then I still say, but what are we doing to protect ourselves? I was glad that young man had a community of black men to help him. But realistically, the next young black guy, he may not have a group of black men to help him, or in the neighborhood, or standing around at the gas station, to have his back. So then my thing would be, don't go in the store and steal nothing.
Right. Don't put
You
yourself
you
in
you
that. Yeah.
can't do wrong and expect for everything else after you get caught
To
to
go
go
away.
right.
Yeah. That's true.
That's true.
That is
That's true.
100% true. Let's go back to what you said, Rodney. You mentioned a word that I talked about on my last episode. It was a special episode that I did last this Wednesday, and I talked about the need for more community, the need for leadership in local government to put more resources to actually form community and outreach programs, and actually putting in resources in the community that represent the need of the people. So if you live in a community where a high percentages of those individuals are addicted to drugs, there needs to be some type of resource there, some type of drug rehabilitation program, some type of workshop at a local library, at a community center, or something. So I do agree that the community, the lack of a true community in most black neighborhoods, are the blame for a lot of the black on black crimes that happen. So let me ask you this, Rodney. In your growing up, and this is just to get an idea of what it was for your community. Was there a community orientated feel where you grew up when you was growing up?
Not necessarily, you know what I'm saying? I mean, when I was growing up, we had boys and girls club. I feel like if the community can go back to boys and girls clubs and have the mentors that used to be in those boys and girls clubs to actually, you know what I'm saying, mentor these kids and, help train, not really train, but,
show them the way.
Mentality.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exposure to positive.
That would it'll de-escalate a lot of the young generation that's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? And if we can go back to that, I feel that it will probably control a lot more of being having more leaders.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I heard Miss Sharon saying that she used to be a mediator and in the detention center and all that. See, for somebody like her, there needs to be more of her. You know what I'm saying? There needs to be more of people speaking, you know what I'm saying, real power and not just power, if that makes sense.
Right. Not just seeking that attention or that all of the accolades, but actually have the power to make change and effect change.
Right. So the thing for me growing up, because I grew up here in Atlanta, and my mom worked at night. She worked at the post office. And there's a lady that till this day I call her my godmother, because when I was out there, when the street lights were on, somebody was able to tell me, you need to get in the house before I call your mama. So it was a community. We cared about one another. We looked out for each other. And I knew anything that I did before my mom got off from work, she already knew about it. Somebody in the apartments told her I was running up and down the street with them little boys, or whatever the case may be. She knew about it.
Absolutely.
And see, back then, you could say something to somebody's child and it not be a problem. See, the problem still reverts back to us. We can't even say anything to our neighbors' kids anymore, because then me and the neighbor are fighting. You see what I'm saying? And to me, that's where the problems start. I have a slew of resources, and I'm gonna tell you something. There are some resources that are out there. The problem is so the thing for me growing up, because I think that's where the problem starts.
Hold on, real quick. Sorry, I had some feedback there. Go ahead. I'm sorry to jump you off, but you were talking about that community back in the day. You can continue.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. And I have a slew of resources. The thing is, Raymond, is that I can't always get my people to use the resources. Right now, in the position that I work in, I have free training. I have free education. I
Mm-hmm.
have adult GED programs, and people will just literally is like, no, I'm not interested.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what do you mean you're not interested? So then
Right.
you want to know why the kid is falling
Is
behind
being,
in
yeah,
school,
yeah, yeah.
because mom don't have her GED,
Right.
and then she got 3 or 4 kids.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so how do we break that cycle? Because I can motivate, I can encourage, I
Right.
can empower all day long, but if it's not instilled in her and she wants better, then those
Mm-hmm.
resources just sit there. And then we want to know why the next year we don't have that resource, or the funding was cut. The funding was cut because the participation
Participation.
was low.
Well, all right. So that brings up another point that I want to talk about. And all of you guys that are watching, Black Lives Matter means more than just black people being killed. Okay, it should always mean more than a black person being slaughtered in the street like cattle, right? So Black Lives Matter has to mean more than just that. And what we're trying to show on this podcast is Black lives should matter in every way of our world, our life. It should happen. It should matter in matter of obtaining and having resources that are accessible to you to get you to the next level. So Ms. Sharon, you bring up a good point. Because I think that in our city of Atlanta, so we have had some of the most and I'm not gonna say that the crime is new, because Atlanta has always had crime, but we're living in a digital world to where everything is documented on social media, film, and everywhere, and it just catches like live fire. So I believe that the reasons why those resources that you mentioned are not actually being tapped into is because of failed leadership in the city. It should not be where an organization or a program or a resource have available funds to help mother get her GED, to help mother go to rehabilitation, to help mother get a trade, or better earn a higher living for her family. Why aren't those resources actually being marketed out to the people that need them? I mean, why is that?
Well, they are. They are. Well, let's say from my standpoint, they
Okay.
are.
Okay.
Anytime, I hear about something, my manager shares something with me, we actually, have a position where the person is responsible for gathering resources, in the neighborhood. I
Okay.
sent out flyers. I've held job fairs. Um,
Gotcha.
we put out the word on social media, and
Mm,
and we get like a handful of people that show up, but then you got all
wow.
these people that say they don't
They don't have
have
this. They don't have
have a
that.
job, like
Hmm.
there's a particular agency, that's called West Side Works. Most people don't know, at one time they had a pharmacy training program. They were actually in partnership with CVS. You automatically go through the program and you get a job with CVS. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. All you got to do is show up. And guess what, Raymond? Come by my
Hmm.
office and I give you a MARTA card to get there.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you live in the city of Atlanta, I'm gonna make sure Miss Smith, Sharon Smith, all of her information is gonna be on our new page website, as well as the Facebook page. We got to do better. So we have a
Right.
person that is from this agency telling us, and because my thought process was this, my thought process was these resources are not being divulged or given to the communities that need them. Now I have someone on this platform telling me, no, Raymond, they are there, but your people aren't taking advantage of it. And that's a problem, black people.
And the city of Atlanta, they have opportunities all the time. There's
Mm-hmm.
a training program over at Atlanta Area Tech.
Mm-hmm.
It's a construction ready program. All this construction going on here in Atlanta. There's a construction ready program over at Atlanta Tech.
Sounds like a new
So,
nonprofit that will
and
be coming up
right,
pretty soon.
and this is and this is the thing that gets me, is that we will go from Cascade to Stone Mountain to get our hair braided, but we won't go
Mm-hmm.
2 streets over to get educated. That's what I have
Mm.
a problem with.
You know why?
Go ahead and
You
jump in,
know why?
Rodney. Mm-hmm.
Because there is nobody like Miss Sharon speaking empowerment into their
And
children.
that's what I believe. I believe that.
And I believe that the foundation starts at home.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you create all these avenues, all these dreams, all these new looks you want. You got to create the empowerment when you first start speaking to your kids. You know what I'm saying? Even with my children, one word that we don't allow in my house is can't.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I barely take try, but I would love to hear do. You know what I'm saying?
That's it, man.
And people need to realize, you know what I'm saying? They're just like with some of these racist white people. I'm gonna keep it 100. That's why they sit up there and say, "Oh, y'all just lazy. Oh, y'all just don't want to do nothing." Well, why you think they speak like that?
Mm-hmm.
It's because you project that kind of energy in their faces, and that's all they're gonna attack.
Right.
They're not gonna attack a situation that I'm a black doctor, I'm a black lawyer, I'm a black judge. How many of them white people you see out there talking about the black judges that's downtown? You don't hear them talking about that. You know who they talking about? All the little hood kids that's out here who's actually producing the same kind of information that they said on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I just believe in empowerment is a key when it comes to black folk in their own home. We have to have a foundation somewhere. If you're growing up in a world where you have no foundation, then we're going to keep having this conversation every week, every month, every year.
Right. And the foundation has to start with at the top. You know, when I decided to get my master's in education, my master's is specific for adult education, because in my previous field of property management and working in low income areas, I would get people that didn't know how to fill out a money order. People have given me a blank money order for $1,000, and I'm like, I'm gonna need you to fill this out. You know, like, well, fill it out for me. You know, and it took me a minute to realize that the I don't have my glasses. That's the new I can't read.
That's it.
That's the new I can't read.
Ladies and gentlemen,
know what, Miss Sam?
Go ahead.
Hold on right quick, right before you jump to the next.
Go ahead.
And one thing that I want to say, my wife, she's just like you, Miss Sam. There is no half stepping when it comes to what you want. If you want it, you need to be all for it. You cannot half step. And even with me, she does me the same exact way. Do I get mad? No. You know what I'm saying? There is an understanding of what she's saying, and I have to believe in what she's saying, because if I want to make change for myself, I have to take criticism or take some kind of conversation to help me believe that I can do this. You know what I'm saying? Especially if I'm a weak-minded person, you have to find some kind of justification. Okay, I'm tired of being weak. I'm tired of not being able to have that. All right, so what you gonna do to change that situation?
And you know, and that's exactly where I was. I spent all of my 40s in college. My 40s in college. I got 2 degrees and 2 certifications from 40 to 49. I didn't go to college straight out of high school. No, I was 40 when I went back to college.
Right.
So when I hear certain excuses, I get a little irritated. And not only was I in my 40s, I had been diagnosed with autoimmune. So those nights that I was in pain and I couldn't sleep, that's when I did my homework. I'm up, might as well get it done.
Right. Absolutely.
That's how my wife is. She be up at 3 a.m. I'm like, what you doing? You supposed to be asleep. I can't sleep, so I might as well do my work.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Well, let's grab a quick break. Both of my guests are phenomenal today, guys. If you just tuning in, we are rocking it out. We're gonna take a quick 30-second little break here, so y'all don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back. Hey, what's up, family? I'm Raymond, and thank you so much for your support of New Wave Real Talk. As I said before many times, this channel is for us, by us, everything black culture. So if you're liking what you're hearing on the show, let me know by dropping a comment, smash the like button, and let me know. Also, if you're watching the show and you want to be a featured guest on the show, hit me up. The email is in the description, wherever you're finding this video, and let's bring you on. If you got something positive to share regarding black culture or just culture in general, you're welcome. You're welcome here. So know that. And I'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the show. I hear Rodney over there, somebody over there vibing. Is that you, Rodney?
Nah, that ain't me. I don't have nothing on.
Sharon, that was you.
Yeah, that was me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. I want to throw a question at both of you guys to get started with the second segment of the show. And it's a pretty simple question, but I know we're gonna go on a rant on this one. And the question is, how has poverty impacted the Black community? Is that the biggest setup that the systematic racism played to get us to this point? I'll throw that question to whoever want to take it first.
Well, I got other thoughts about that. I mean, all that was designed for that. You know what I'm saying? And once you start, let's go back to slavery. Once you get control of the minds of the people that you wanted to oppress another person, meaning Black people, you hurry up and get them on your side. So once you spread that virus through your own people, now they can be able to get around the people that they want to oppress and bring them down. You see what I'm saying? So I think it started way back then. You know what I'm saying? To bring that type of poverty life. I mean, you got to think about how we was living when we were slaves. We was living like we was in poverty all the time. It's like that's all you know. That's all you know. So when it's time for you to have something, you're not really ready for something new. You just used to what you used to. So poverty is kind of like created on that end, but we kept it going. You see what I'm saying? So
when you say real quick before I go to Ms. Sharon, when you say we kept it going, you mean that people bought into the idea of because you Black, you have to be poor, and they didn't do better.
Right, and it started getting better until you start seeing all these new cars and all this stuff that you wanted. Now you trying to get out there and get it. But guess what? It's been happening so long to where ain't nobody trying to listen to you because they like, oh, you don't want that. You just want it because how it looks. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, you really want it because you want to change. But it don't work that way.
And a lot of folks don't want to work for it. You want the world, but you're not willing to work for it all the time. So, Ms. Cheryl, let's throw that question to you. How do you feel that how has poverty impacted the Black community in your opinion?
Well, I think that it has created a path of comfortability. We get comfortable real quick, send us $1,200. Oh, we got some money. No, we don't have any money, and you could send the white person $1,200. They go to the bank and they flip that $1,200. They get a money market account, but then it goes back to lack of knowledge, lack of education. And then I hear, we're blaming everything. No pun intended. We're blaming everything on social media, but just like you got access to social media, you got access to Google and Bing and all these other search engines to help get educated, to teach you something.
Come on now.
So when you scrolling on social media, you're scrolling on IG, you need to be scrolling on Google trying to figure out how can I flip my money. How long I've been on Section 8, 5 years, I'm ready to buy a house. Most people don't know that most of the housing authorities in Atlanta, they have a home buyers program, but we so comfortable with living in a $1,300 a month apartment and I rent $13. You think I'm gonna go get a house and my mortgage $800? No, I'm gonna stay over here so I can keep paying $1,300. But and yet I walk out that door and I look good. I look like a grand. My kids got nice clothes, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But that's for the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like we run the Black Friday like we don't have anything already. And I'm thinking to myself, what happened to the big screen TV you bought last Black Friday? TV's not just going out. It's like, is that all that you see? Is tennis shoes and TVs? And I feel like society set us up and we fall for it.
That is true.
And then we get comfortable.
That is true.
We get comfortable. So then to me, I look at it, nobody can change your situation but you.
Right.
But when you comfortable When you comfortable, Raymond, you comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Why should I?
That's
Why
it.
should I pay 800 when I can pay 15?
Right. Right.
And
Absolutely.
to add something on the back end of that right there, what you gonna leave your kids if something should happen to you?
I guess they're
you
gonna
over
leave them the
there happy
voucher.
that you paying $13 a month for your rent? What you
Mhm.
gonna leave your kids if something happen to you? See, I'm buying a house. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So if something should happen to me, this house is gonna be there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I set it up to where it's gonna be paid off if something should happen to me and my wife.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I can't leave them no TV because guess what? After a while, we're gonna have holographic TV. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
TV
And look,
ain't gonna
Right.
be
and they
nothing
still
no more.
go
Look at the box TV.
and they still gonna fight, and they still gonna fight over that. Because
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, if they don't fight over it, they're gonna need to pawn it to get money for your funeral. Because guess what? You don't even have no life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Come
we
on now.
don't take care of our business, and then we always say it's the white man's fault.
Mm.
Really?
No, it
Really?
ain't.
It's the
No, it ain't.
man's
Got to
fault. The
take that
man.
accountability. Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Right.
And see, that's another thing. The reason why I said like what the racist white people say is because of what Miss Shanley just said. You know what I'm saying? Because you allow your brain to just accept. You know what I mean? Even like with the Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter to me means really totally different than what the statement means. And
What does
I'm
it mean
glad
to
I'm
you?
clear.
Let's talk about
To
that.
me-
What does it mean to you?
Black Lives Matter means that it's not just black people dying. Black Lives Matter means that we want to have something too. That's what it means to me.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else saying Black Lives Matter because of the killing and all that.
Mm-hmm.
See, we ain't taking it further enough. We only taking it for what the situation is currently.
Mm-hmm.
We need to take it further.
Mm-hmm.
Just like how the people was out there in Stone Mountain. Me personally, I don't feel like they should have went to Stone Mountain. I felt like they should have went to Ackworth. You know what I'm saying? All the way to Griffin. You know what I'm saying? Well, all these people who need to see this. See,
Mhm.
they safe because they ain't in the city.
Mm-hmm.
They safe. Let's
Mhm.
go out there to their neighborhood then. If you really feel that way, man, let's be for real. It ain't been no KKK in Stone Mountain in how many years? How many years?
Right.
They might
Well, I
be
mean-
still racist out there, but they ain't walking around in their clan suits.
Right.
Still,
That
you
is
know what I'm saying?
that's true.
Yeah, you're
That's true.
absolutely right. And that's the same way. That's the same way that I feel. You know, Black Lives Matters to me. It means what Dr. Martin Luther King did. He protested. He
Right.
didn't riot. He didn't riot. See, I actually
Nope.
had to sit down and look up I had to go to Google and
Mhm.
look up the definition of riot and look up the definition of protest.
Mhm.
Totally two different things.
Mhm.
The only common denominator is a group of people for a cause. But
Mhm.
what is that cause?
Mhm.
Black Lives Matters to me means that all my forefathers, Dr. Martin Luther King, Joseph P. Lowry, all those dudes, they paved the way because my life mattered.
Mm.
They did the front work.
Mhm.
And they left it for us to do the back work.
Mhm.
And I feel like we're
Yep.
disappointing them. We're letting them down.
Mhm.
They opened
Mhm.
up the door. We got more rights than ever.
Right.
How can I get mad because they say nigger, but my cousins say nigga? What's the
Oh boy.
difference?
Oh
What's the
man,
What's the
that's a
difference?
whole that's a whole topic. Okay,
That's
let's talk
part
about
three.
it. Let's get
That's
it. Nah,
part three.
let's get we on 20, we on 39 minutes. Let's get into it real quick. Now, should how I mean how do you're right, how do we expect to eradicate the N-word when we use it? Now, some people will say we don't say the same word they say though. You know, they say GER. We say GA, right? So what
But everybody's still saying it wrong though.
everybody said it wrong.
And then
Yeah, because let me tell
has
you
anybody ever looked it up? Has anybody ever actually went to Webster, Google, or whoever and defined it? Because it has no color to it. It really just means ignorance.
Right,
It
and ignorant,
means,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It means lack of
But see,
knowledge,
at the same
lack of
time,
education.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
at the same time though, nigga, you know what I'm saying? NEGUS is also a pharaoh thing. Was a bunch of people who was kings and queens. You see what I'm saying? See, that's why I say everybody's saying it wrong. Y'all ain't
Right.
doing your history and your education. Because
Right.
back then there was a community, if you want to call it, a native community called nigga. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. You're talking
Because
about
it
the
was a bunch
16th
of
century.
people,
Yeah, the late
Right.
16th century.
right,
Mhm.
Right.
running around
But
with
see,
gold jewelry on and all that type of stuff.
but see,
But see,
that
that's what
goes
I'm saying.
back to
People
what
ain't
you said.
educated.
That goes back to what you said earlier. Everybody, we just jump on a bandwagon.
Yep.
You know, we
Yep.
just ride, and I feel like we ride or die, but we don't know when to ride. Therefore, we keep dying.
Oh, we don't know when to
Mhm.
get out the
We don't
damn ride.
know,
One or the other.
right?
We don't know when to get off the ride. Like,
Right,
go read a book. You know what I mean? Go
right,
educate yourself for sure.
right. I totally disagree with what happened at Stone Mountain, because anytime, I don't care what color you are, what race you are, what your culture, your
Yep.
nationality, when you show up with a gun, that's a threat.
Mm.
Yep.
That's a threat when you
Straight up
show
and
up
down.
in a gun.
Mm-hmm.
So when you showed
Straight
up,
up and down.
and like you
Mhm.
said, the KKK, they're not walking around in the white sheets anymore. Believe it or
Right.
not, they the one signing your paycheck. You
That's
just
it.
don't know it. They
Yep.
smiling at you,
Yep.
and they give you a bonus, and they give you commission. They doing all. They even giving you loans at the bank. You don't
Mm.
know who they are anymore because they're so organized that they know how to be distinct.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The disguise is real.
And that's where we fail at. That's where
Right.
we fail at. We
That's
don't
what
we
we
don't organize.
Right. And I said to somebody, I said, it's funny that we don't even realize what kind of power that we have, because in the truth of it all, Raymond,
Mhm.
they can't make it without us.
Oh
You know,
no.
it was a black man that made the asphalt. Now, Frigidaire might be a white company, but guess who made the compressor for refrigerators?
Mm.
A black man.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Now this may be a bad segue because we are talking about such positive, such positive
Hey, but it
things.
has to be talked about.
But
though,
it does.
man.
It does.
It's the type of stuff that has to be talked about.
So I wanna
'cause
pose
we keep
a
allowing people to just say whatever they want to say, and we not
control the
we not
narrative.
pushing
Yeah.
back. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right.
You're 100% right. I do want to ask y'all this question here because I think it's a very real question, and it's one that most of our people don't like to talk about or just don't know how to talk about it. And it is basically, how is mental illness going untreated is one of the things that's killing the Black community. How much of an impact do you think the mental illness or mental illnesses in general have on the Black community, Ms. Sharon?
You know what? I would probably say almost up to 80, maybe 80, 85%, because a lot of us don't even know that we have a mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
And those of us that know it, because there's been such a negative stigma on therapy and going to see somebody and talk. If I go talk to a psychiatrist, that means I'm crazy. No, that means you just need healing. Because
Right.
if you catch a cold or you get a headache or you start
Mm-hmm.
bleeding, you go to the hospital and see what's wrong
Absolutely.
with you. So why
Absolutely.
not go to that doctor and fix what's wrong? It plays a big part of it because I see it all the time.
Mhm.
I always tell myself, okay, there's a backstory to that mother. They got 6 kids and 8 baby daddies. Something happened somewhere, and it's a generational curse. It has been trickled down. It's just like a fungus, and it keeps growing and growing and growing, and the cycle never ends. And then when you finally get somebody that say, okay, I need help, and you get them in front of a doctor, you find out that they're depressed, they got bipolar, they schizophrenic,
Learning
they
disabilities, all
was
kind
raped.
of
Right.
things.
They
Yeah.
was raped by the uncle, or they saw the mother get beat. So every boyfriend or every baby daddy beats her up. So she think it's normal because she grew up seeing that her mother was being abused. So she think this is okay. So then you got a whole history of domestic violence. And how can you be mentally sane in that type of environment? When you're raised in that
Yep.
type of environment, how can you
That's
be
what you gonna
mentally
do.
sane? But again, accountability. Let's own it. Let's
Right.
own it.
The
Yep.
only way
But
we're gonna move forward is that. You're right. We have to own it.
Yep. And that's the
you
only way
know,
it's gonna prevail.
I ride through neighborhoods and I look at nice houses and I see that people, we don't care about where we live anymore. We trash our own neighborhoods. We vandalize our own communities. We steal from each other. So when you say Black Lives Matters, to who? Who does it matter to? Because if Black Lives matter, so do I matter to you? Do you matter to me?
Right.
Let's forget the white man.
Right.
Let's just talk about us.
Take him out.
Yeah, take the white man out. Let's just talk about us.
Right.
Let's keep it real and just talk about us. Do I matter to you? Do you matter to me? You know,
that has to be the conversation. Yeah, that has to be the first thing you think about when you're interacting with. And here's what I would say. I'll interject with you real quick. I think that through trial and tribulation, you sometimes come out with a victory, right? Like every difficulty is a lesson, right? There's a lesson inside of that. And sometimes you can walk away with a different understanding and a different perspective. I think that's what almost happened in this period of time, because I know for me, when I interacted with Black men and Black women from the time that all of the, from Breonna Taylor to Ahmaud Arbery to George Floyd, when I came in contact with my brother and my sister, man, I felt that connection was different for me. Like every Black person I saw from that point, I was like, that's my brother, that's my sister. And so I think that we have an opportunity to move from this difficult time with the racial tension and actually allow that to metamorphose into something that's great for us as a people. And I hope that happens. But
you know
I mean,
you know what's so crazy though, Raymond?
Mm-hmm.
This is so crazy, man, because between the mayor and the DA Howard guy, his peers to force his hand down by not, you know what I'm saying, keeping police accountable for their actions, right? So now the mayor is bickering back and forth with the DA about how long is this paperwork going to sit on your desk. See, to me, that's another example of how that system is designed to keep us fighting amongst each other.
Yeah.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? First off, all Black people just need to kill the violence, period. You know what I'm saying? Because if you mad because I drive me a BMW and you got you a Volvo, you know, or a Beetle, whatever you want to drive here, you can have a bike, that's all I care. But if you mad about that, why not sit there and say, hey, brother, can you at least teach me how to, you know what I'm saying, be like you or not be like you?
Right. How did you get there?
The way that you end up?
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, that's why I be trying to teach my kids. I got girls. I got 4 girls total and 1 little boy. You know what I'm saying? And my daughters, I don't put my hands on them. Now, granted, I might yell at them when they get on my nerves, but I ain't finna sit there and, like, you know what I'm saying, talk down to them like, you stupid B or whatever. I don't do all that.
Right.
Now, I might be like, I don't about to business before I turn into the wrong kind of daddy. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? I don't put my hands on them because I don't want them to feel like it's okay for a man to put their hands
Absolutely.
on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't even put my hands on a little man because I don't want him to feel like that. Just because somebody bigger than you need to be scared to say what's on your mind. You know what I'm saying? So as far as like Black people need to go, we need to quit trying to fight each other, man. We doing enough of that, and they helping us help you kill us.
Absolutely, they're helping us self-destruct.
Yeah, but you know the weird thing, even with the whole coronavirus thing, the whole mask thing in the city of Atlanta, there's no reason why Keisha should be arguing with Kemp. We get Kemp, you're the governor. We get it. You over the mayor. I get it. But Keisha has said, hey, y'all hear my voice. I'm telling you guys just to wear a mask. If we all just complied and get out of ourselves, get out of ego, I don't want to wear no mask. She don't tell me what to do. But we got a Black leader that we have hooped and hollered. And we ain't got no Black president. We ain't got no Black mayor. Now we got one. And you won't comply with the policies that she's putting in place. Because if we all just wore a mask, what Kemp gonna do?
Right.
He can't make me take it off, just like he can't make me put it on.
Right.
But she's asking you. She's pleading with you. Yeah. She's pleading with you to just do the right thing.
Right. Yeah. You
know, and then it's like you call the governor's mansion. They're not doing tours. Well, why not? Because of Corona.
But you want me to go
Exactly.
back to work because of Corona, but I can't come through your house without a mask. I want to come over your house, Kim.
I know that, right? We need to have a house party. Let me tell you,
Right.
I passed by the governor's mansion today, and today we're shooting this on July 10th. Literally, Georgia State Patrol on the back gate, Georgia State Patrol on the front gate, roving security. I mean, that thing is locked up like Fort Knox. So you ain't getting up in there.
Right. Right. But you want me to
why
go to
is that?
work.
Why is that?
Why is that? I should be able to do a tour.
Yeah,
Why you not doing tours?
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
it's
I want to see
so
what you
your
nigga
house
like.
get
I want to see
so
what your back end is.
absolutely. Y'all up there quarantine, but you want us out here
Uh-huh.
engaging and entangling with each other as Jada Pinkett entangle. We
Uh-huh.
all out here running up behind each other, and we ain't
Right.
got on no mask, and that's okay with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then we
Yeah.
get the leader
Yep,
that say, "Hey, all she's saying is wear your mask when you go out." She's not
Right.
even saying
that's
don't
it.
go out no more. If you go out, just wear your
Wear a
mask.
mask.
That's
Yeah.
all she's asking.
Yeah. And the crazy
Because
thing is, go ahead,
as
Ronnie.
soon as they said the city is on lockdown, how many people ran outside?
Right.
As
Yeah,
soon as they
people.
told you that coronavirus was killing people, you couldn't get nobody to go outside. But as
Mhm.
soon as the governor sat up there and said, "Hey y'all, I don't want y'all going outside," everybody was outside. Look how many videos was going on when he told everybody that the city was on lockdown.
Right.
Come
Yeah,
on, man, y'all got to
people
be more
Absolutely.
typically
smarter than that, man.
people
Right.
typically want to do things that they shouldn't do and never want to do the things that they should.
Right. And I think the whole stimulus, yeah, it was appreciated, but it was also a setup because everybody
Mm,
went outside to get a big screen TV. I'm like, so what
mm.
y'all been doing for the last 60 days? What y'all been watching? Because we already was like on
I'm trying to tell
lockdown.
you.
Exactly. I guess they said, hey, if I'm going Netflix and chill, I need to have me something big to I need to have me something big to watch. But let's go ahead and throw this our last question of tonight. And it's a pretty simple question, but I mean it's not going to be a simple answer. But I'll pose this one to you, Rodney, first. And it is on the screen as well. What can be done to stop the crime rising in the Black communities? I left that part out. What do you think could be some of the solutions that we can bring in to play in our communities to self-govern and to uh, self-govern our own people?
Well, one thing, people don't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. You know what I'm saying? And for us to be able to control certain aspects of our community, we need to have, like how Miss Sharon said, more avenues for people to turn to when they get to that difficulty. Which you shouldn't get to a difficulty for you to want to change how you're acting. But we should also have, like I said, YMCAs or how she was saying, programs. You know, it kind of like makes me sad that only people who's educated knows about these kind of programs that's out here to help.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now,
Yeah.
granted, you got a lot of people who know more about housing authority than housing authority. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's crazy. But
yeah, that's true. That's true.
but as a community, though, we need to start standing up in our own, as far as like our own family.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Start there.
Take control of your family first.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because the more that you spread that information, just like this coronavirus, the more it'll take over.
Mm-hmm.
And we just sitting out here only going, no, burn that down. When we just want to be out there telling folks to burn it down, then, bro, you ain't helping the situation.
Right.
You creating the havoc that we trying to stop.
Exactly.
You know, I was real mad. You know, I work downtown right there by the CNN.
Mm-hmm.
And when they was sitting up there throwing bricks and rocks and all that stuff in these folk windows, y'all so slow. But these people ain't worried about y'all breaking their windows because their insurance is gonna pay for it.
Right.
So guess what's gonna happen with the insurance money? For the folks who work, gonna have to help pay for that window that your ass broke.
Mm.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna build bigger, they're gonna build better. All you doing, and they probably wanted it knocked down anyway, so they can get it. How many
Right.
favors,
You just help them out.
right. That's exactly
Right.
what you did. And I think, it's gonna take communication and education.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We got to get back to talking to one another and not at one another, and
Mm.
educating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I told my son one time it's a difference between a subdivision and a neighborhood. People in the neighborhood know each other.
Absolutely.
You go
That's
in a
it.
subdivision, everybody behind gates and everybody in their house, and my house look big, your house, my car. No, I
Right.
want to know that when I go outside or I leave town, I need that nosy neighbor looking out the window say, Miss Sharon, somebody at your house. We don't
Right.
do that.
Girl, where you at, girl? I see somebody peeping around the corner right here. You know who that is out
Right.
here?
Right. Instead of you waiting for me to leave and calling out your
uh,
nephews to come break in.
uh-huh.
You
Right.
know, I
Yep.
think honestly, and this is going to sound real strange. We keep saying Black Lives Matter, but when are we going to start loving each other?
Mm.
Yep. That's the whole problem.
When are we going to start loving one another? You know,
Right.
we say, I'm my brother's keeper. I'm my sister's keeper. Are you really? Because the
Right.
minute your sister look at you wrong, you ready to fight.
Right.
You ready to call her
Trying to
out her
tell you.
name.
Yeah, man.
Trying to tell you. I
I
just feel like that people should just go ahead and just show love, man. You know what I'm saying?
that's
Like my
it.
wife, she says that I'm sensitive because I say I love you a lot. But see, the reason why I say that is because I want you to know that with love, control can conquer evil at any time. I don't
Mm-hmm.
Right.
care where you at in life; it will conquer it every time. That's why
Mm-hmm.
the devil is the way he is. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm
Right.
saying? Granted, God said that, nah, you can't lay a finger on this man, but you know what I'm saying? You can do what you want to do.
Right.
So what he did
You
was
can
came
you can do whatever you want to do with the body, but you can't touch the heart.
Right.
right. So what he did was, oh, okay, so I can't touch him, but guess what? I can entice him.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
with things like jewelry and nice cars and you know what I'm saying, it controls your heart more than it controls your mind
Mm.
because you want that so bad. To where guess where does hatred start? It don't start in the brain. It start in the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
it
know what I'm saying?
starts
It don't
and it's
start.
and it start at home. It start at home.
And it start at home.
We're
Yes,
the
ma'am.
only race that can't come together and make something happen. And working in property
Yep.
management, although I knew it was against the lease, I've seen eight Latinos in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Mm-hmm.
But they go to the grocery store together, and when that total come up, they all go in their pocket and pull out their money together.
Well, I think that is here's what I would say about that. I think that you know, that was the plan all along, right? Since slavery, since in the inception of slavery, was to separate, put our own people against each other. But we as a people gotta find a way to break from that. And I don't know, man. I don't know if it will be done in my lifetime.
Well,
I don't know.
it was taught to us because when you talk about slavery, when
Mm-hmm.
they separated us, and some of us was in the master's house, and some of
Mm-hmm.
us was in the field. So
Mm-hmm.
those in the master house was supposed to be the uppity, as my mama
Mm-hmm.
would say. Oh, that's the uppity nigger. What's the uppity
Mm-hmm.
nigger? You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they better than us. Like, what do you
Mm-hmm.
mean they're better than us? But that is what was taught. That's what was trained. So when
Mm-hmm.
those niggas that was able to be inside the house, although they was in the basement, it was better than being out there in the heat in the cotton
Mm-hmm.
field.
Mm-hmm.
So then that
Yep.
separated us
Right.
because those that were in the house, very few did whatever they could do to try to help get the others inside the house.
Mm.
It was kind of like,
Right.
I'm in the house, and if I got to have sex with master got to rape me every night. Then you have a baby by master. Then we want to know where the interracial
Mm-hmm.
come from. That's
Yeah.
where it came from. The master
It's deep.
sleeping with the slave.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely
Yep.
deep. We definitely gonna have to do a part 3 and talking about the fundamentals of the things that I think that we all need to recognize. And that's the thing. In order for you to move forward from anything, whether that's an addiction, whether that's from a bad habit, whatever, in order to move away from it, you have to, number one, acknowledge that it exists. So we as Black people got to acknowledge that, yes, we are programmed to be envious of each other. But as soon as you
Yep.
feel that come about, you got to be able to check that thing. And you got to be like, you know
Right.
what, man, this is my brother. And like I said, I can say it 100% from the time of all of these police shootings and the racial divide. Every time I saw a Black person, brother or sister in the streets, my heart was open. and I handled them differently. My patience was a little bit longer. My tolerance was a little bit higher. And I think if we all did that, I think that we could progressively get better as a people. But it has to start with accepting the fact that we are programmed to act and move in a certain way. But although we know that we're programmed to do it, we got to now program ourselves to not do it. Right. And so hopefully people that come by this podcast can begin to have that inner thought and inner communication with themselves to say, you know what, I have been envious of my own people, and I don't know why. And that I don't know why is because we have always been programmed, even dark skin, light skin, right? I mean, I'm a dark skinned brother. I'm not really that tall either. I'm 5'8", 5'7" and a half. So I'm dark and I'm short. So I could be easily, you know, offended by a light skinned tall guy. But you know, you can't have that mindset. You got to be able to just be loving, like Rodney said, love conquers everything.
Yeah, that's
you know, just to throw something else out there for people to understand. Anybody who's watching this podcast right now, go look up the Scottsboro Boys. Go look that up. You know what I'm saying? It's on YouTube. It's about a 17-minute video. You know what I'm saying? You want to talk about racial equality, like, you know, that right there, that video, oh my God, you're gonna be amazed of how those boys went through it all. It was just like that movie, that Netflix documentary, what it was called, Us Over Them or something like that. It was dealing the same way. You know, same thing like the fruit something station.
Fruitsville station, yeah.
It's the same situation. You know, and even when you go look at the Tulsa massacre, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Go watch all those types of videos so that way y'all can understand that when we say Black Lives Matter, it's not about Black Lives Matter only when we die. It has to matter in all kind of aspects.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And you have to be like strong enough to be able to handle what you about to hear, what you about to get, and how it's going to come at you.
Man,
you know
what
I'm saying? I've been through the court system. I've been through it. You know what I'm saying? And I know what it feels like, but I can't sit here and blame that man. I have to blame the system. I can't blame the man in the system. I have to blame the system because the system is training him to act that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Right. You know, I just want us to matter to each other first. We got to matter to each other before we can expect them to respect the fact that we matter and that we're going to defend each other. We're going to take up for each other, and not necessarily with guns, not necessarily with knives. I want us to learn how to fight without weapons. Put your guns down. Get on the computer. Get on a plane and let's sit on the White House lawn. Let them know that we want justice. We want things to change, and we're open for options. We're open for change. We ain't got to always show up with guns and knives, because then that creates somebody's life. Now you got an 8-year-old girl. She gone all because we were trying to prove a point to who? Who were we trying to prove a point to?
Right.
Because now to them,
come on.
She was 8 years old. They got another nigga off the street. That's to me. That's how I felt. We did it. If they sit back, we do it to each other. And I want us to move away from that. Let Black Lives Matters to each other.
That's it, man. I couldn't have said it any better. Oh my God, this has been an electrifying podcast. I want to thank both of y'all for coming on.
Good deal. Good. Thank you for having me.
On here, man.
She's speaking the truth, man. Oh my goodness, I wasn't ready.
You weren't ready. You weren't ready.
Me neither. Me neither. Boy, I was like, hold on.
Well, you both are welcome here anytime. You know how to get in contact with me. And we definitely will do it again. And like you said, Miss Sharon, off the show. This isn't a topic that's an open and close. You know what I mean? This is decades and centuries, and I mean of just stuff that has been mounted on top of each other, and we have to just work like hell to break it all apart. And whoever will listen, that's who we will entertain. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Got to keep it going.
All right, y'all. Well, hey, I will see y'all on the next show. I'm gonna let y'all go. And you know, I'm gonna tag y'all in the post as well, so that way Somebody turned on their thing.
I'm sorry.
You good. I will tag y'all on the New Wave page so that way your name can be tagged in the post, and share it for sure. Share it with your friends and family so they can hear your perspective. And anytime that conversation come up, Miss Sharon, tag this video and they say, "Hey, you want to know how I feel about it? Here you go. Go listen to this. It's an hour and 5 minutes."
Right.
All right. Well, I'll talk to both of y'all later.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, Rodney, you be safe too, man. Thank you as well.
All
right, bro. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's it, man. If you just tuning in, you're gonna have to watch the replay. The show was off the chain. And I can't say anything else besides that. So I thank y'all for tuning in, the ones who stuck with me. And for the ones who just got here, I'm about to end the live. Go back and watch it. It's 1 hour and 6 minutes of nothing but pure freaking goodness. So thank y'all for tuning in, and I will see y'all next Friday. I'm here every Friday at 8 o'clock. You can also listen to all of the episodes of the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Just type in New Wave Real Talk. New Wave Real Talk. You're gonna get the name here, and it's probably up in the description somewhere. So go and watch it, and it'll make your heart jump a little bit on the topics that we talk about. We are a true podcast for Black culture. So I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night, and I'll see you next week. And I'm the host of New Wave Real Talk. Thank you so much for watching the show today. Please go ahead and comment and subscribe if you're watching either on YouTube or Facebook. Comment. Let me know how you liked today's show. Also, if you want to be a featured guest on the show, this is how you get in contact with me. Email newwaverealtalk@gmail.com. Let me know what you have to offer to the Black community, and I will do my best to get back with you as it relates to when would be a good time for you to come on the podcast. So thank y'all so much for the support, and I will see you next Friday, and we will do it again. We'll rock it out again. So thank y'all for being here, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.